Ashafaleti for more cover Edoba DebrahAs TV so. I'm Zadia since Radio Inside. And the midnight on Bay inaugurate the 9th Parliament. Let us say a year 8th Parliament no. And ne ahomachi and omodini nyina bebane ne nema ebetwa gunyina no so se obeje brema also na just say yemfa dwumade no ensomo na also ngibre na also hwebi na mense obre no eye president elect ene ebo na nkopon ya adoma ochina yebe inaugurate no as the sitting president of the republic no ni nyina na se ode eye list bi ababonten which is executive the office high officer who are appointing for at the team say any easy the next say Julius DebrahAs next say appointing as chief of staff Dr. Callistus Felix Ofosukwache like Oshem paying for but next is finally you so I for a year 9th parliament inauguration abesumu nti menu won free dwumade anymore share na like na wonu abisu nsankabi
summed up charges was intimidate and completely extinguish a known dissenting voice. Right, Honorable Speaker, my crime, Mr. Speaker, was that I sounded alarm bells on an economy that was being mismanaged and ruined by an act and omissions of a select few in government. The fact that my prosecution began in the wake of the tussle over e-levy should not be lost on anyone. That I became an instant target for the regime. Mr. Speaker, I was charged on the Christmas Eve, a few days after the rejection of the e-levy and the 2022 budget. Right, Honorable Speaker, from that point, the Attorney General and the Minister responsible for Justice, Godfred Yabu-Adame, in whom the prosecutorial powers of the state is vested, was determined to deploy all crude tactics, including the use of subterfuge, to achieve his ends of malicious prosecution just to satisfy the regime.
So that was the minority leader, Dr. Kesi, all night long to bring you whatever will be happening there at the dissolution of the 8th Parliament and the inauguration of the 9th Parliament, in addition to the election of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker and the second Deputy Speaker. Will all be there to bring you that. But still with government, President-elect John Dramani Mahama has announced some appointment to key positions in the office of the president, effective January 7, 2025. Now, he appoints Julius DebrahAs as his chief of staff. You know, Julius DebrahAs was his chief of staff in his first term of office. He maintains that position as the chief of staff. You also have Dr. Callistus Mahama. He has been appointed as executive secretary to the president. Prosper Douglas Bunny is head of interim security task force. You remember last week we brought you that story where he has made some appointment of some 6 people to act as interim, security task force. Dr. Prosper Bunny is heading that. Dr. Valerie Sawyer has been appointed as senior presidential advisor, governmental affairs. And then you also have Augustus Gusitano, is a presidential advisor responsible for 24-hour economy and accelerated export development. So that's the appointment coming in for Augustus Gusitano. Marietta Ejewa-Brew is legal counsel to the president of Ghana. Marietta Ejewa-Brew is legal counsel for the president of Ghana. And then Honorable Felix Kwachi. And these appointments, according to this press release, takes effect from Tuesday, 2025. So that is, what the president-elect is, communicating to the people of Ghana. We'll be keeping an eye on how that also goes now, as well as what will be happening in Parliament for you. Now, lead data analyst here at Joy News, Isaac Kofiaje, is here with a breakdown of how the House of Parliament will look like after tonight. Remember that after tonight, midnight, the 9th Parliament will be inaugurated, and we want to bring you a look of how the 9th Parliament will be, and our data team has been putting faces to what you will see, and trying to bring out exactly how the House will look like after today. Kofi, well, we know that some MPs will obviously not be coming back. Let's understand how the House will look like.
There were some MPs who decided that, they were going to quote-unquote retire. Okay. They will not be part of the 9th Parliament. The majority of them actually came from the NPP side, the current government. And just look at this tall list. We're starting with Honorable Kennedy Ejapon, who is the minister for or MP for the Ascent Central constituency. He's been in Parliament since 2000. He will not be part of the 9th Parliament.
So he's been in Parliament for 24 years.
Exactly, 24 years.
A lot of experience.
Exactly. He will not be part of the 9th Parliament. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who was the vice presidential candidate for the MPP, will also not be in the 9th Parliament. Johnson Edu will also not be part. Nana Kesi AJ Boateng, big name there. William Oreku, Edu, and then Osei Bonsu Amwa, Obi Amwa, will also not be part of the 9th Parliament. He's been in Parliament since 2012. Going forward, very own Joe Gate of the Zikado Ketan will also not be in Parliament. He's also been in Parliament since 2005.
And he's been a deputy speaker before.
Absolutely.
He's been attorney general also. So he goes
number of positions.
He goes away with vast of experience.
Exactly. Exactly. Benito Owusu also not be in Parliament. And Joseph Osei Owusu, who the current first deputy speaker, also not be in Parliament. Samuel Atacha, who has actually served almost on all the boards that are the chair of almost all the committees in Parliament, will also not be in Parliament. Dan Boche will not see Dan Boche in the 9th Parliament. Kwesi Amwakwata, the current roads minister, will also not be in Parliament.
Roads minister.
Well, let's put it that way. And other members of Parliament will not be. But
because we will not be coming.
Yeah, it will also be good to look at the composition of the 9th Parliament, how it will be, and you can see the big green here that tells you the near super majority that the NDC will have. They just need one person to get that super majority in the 9th Parliament. But what we know is that we still have one standing, constituency in the Ablekuma North that has not been declared yet. But just like we had in some of the parliaments, we have 4 independent candidates. It will be interesting to see which side they decide to play ball with.
And you said the NDC needs one person.
Just one person to become, when they get 184, that becomes super majority. They're able to get 2/3 majority. Now, beyond those who decided not to contest in the main election, there were some who decided to go ahead and still contest. Katie Amon was hoping to be possibly the most experienced NPP MP in the 9th Parliament. We all know he lost to a debutant, by 14,229 votes. He got 14,229 votes. That's against 13,275. And the other big names, Ambrose Derry also contested, but he lost to Richard Kuri. He will also not be coming to the 9th Parliament. There's also Eslo Wusu.
Another big name.
Yeah, big name. She will not be part of the 9th Parliament. Lost to a debutant, Kweku, Ado, who defeated her in that election there. There's also...
So how many pastors do we have in Parliament now? Is the Asin South man
I think about 3 or 4, right? Yeah. You definitely... Some people are pastors, but they definitely will not put it out. But yeah, we can count about 3 or 4. Henry Korte, who is the immediate past Interior Minister, will also not be in Parliament, defeated by possibly a debutant as well. Yeah,
this was a race.
Yeah. An interesting election as well. And Lydia Hassan will not be in Parliament.
That was a gap.
Parliament. That was a gap. Very, very huge. Very, very huge gap.
Farmer John Dumelo. So this is he will be a member of
he will be a new
agri committee.
Also not be there Peter Amewu, also not be part of the 9th Parliament. Japa Mesa will not be there.
Yeah,
I mean, Farouk Mahama, the son of the
former vice
president, will not be there. And Daquan Newman will not make it. She was defeated by Debiton. I mean, and also Sylvester Tete will not make it to the 9th Parliament. Andy Apiakubi will also not be there.
And the person who defeated Andy is an independent candidate. But we are told that he has links with the government.
With the MPP. I mean, so definitely maybe he may decide to play ball with the MPP.
But he said that I think I read an interview he granted where he said he wouldn't do business with the MPP. I don't know.
I mean, what happened in 2000 will tell you that, I mean, in 2000 we saw the MPP having just exactly half of the number of members of parliament. I mean, they got 100 out of 200. They had to lobby to get other members for them to be able to form the majority. What we know is that if you look at the data, the other side, who are not mainly part of the minority, always decide to play ball with the majority. We do not know how that will pan out. But of course, we are bringing on board newbies. So come to the touch screen. Let's look at the 120 debutants.
Okay.
Who
120.
120.
That's a huge number.
That's a huge number. So that
huge.
tells you that this parliament will lose a lot of experience, especially on the side of the minority. We know that the incoming majority have been able to preserve, the experienced hands. We still have,
Kesi is there.
Is there.
You have all their leadership. All their leadership are there.
Mahama Yariga is there. Haruna Idrisu is there.
Muntaka Mubarak is still there. I mean, they have...
So their side is really experienced.
Even Mahama Yariga is still there. So they have...
They have a lot of people. And beyond the 120 debutants, there's also the need to look at the gender representation. The 8th Parliament, although has a lot of negative, attachment, was the parliament that delivered female MPs, 40. Now, I mean, we are going to see a marginal decline in the 9th Parliament. We do not know how, other results will look like. We still know that there are still some of the constituencies under contention. But what we know at the moment is that we will have about 39 females who will be coming to the 8th Parliament. And it will be interesting to also look at it on the side of the representation in percentage terms. The country has been able to move from the single digits in 1992, in 1996, in 2000. Now we are talking about double digits in both the 6th, 7th, 8th, and even the 9th Parliament. Although there's a marginal decline, we're still going to see that. Election of the speakership, it will be interesting to see who becomes the speaker. But let's bring Anand. I mean, and I always say that if Alban Bagbin is re-elected, he makes history. He becomes the second person to have a second term, and the only. I mean, he was retained in the first and second parliament.
You just made me miss this man. I was young, but he made parliament quite an interesting part.
Yes. And I mean, today we saw her. She still remains the only female in this domain. I mean, if you are talking about the speakers of parliament, the past speakers of parliament, she remains the only female in the Fourth Republic that has actually, had the privilege to be in this position. And then also, we know that, I mean, there was that battle between these two in the 8th Parliament. But at the end of the day, we saw how, he was able to get that nod to become the Speaker for the 8th Parliament. Definitely tonight, I mean, we do not know if the MPP are going to present somebody, but they say...
But we can't be sure that the MPP won't try it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because even if you do, you don't have the numbers. You have 88 plus, even if all the independent say they are going to do business with, that would be like 91, 92. You cannot overrule the 180 that the NDC has.
Tax.
So really, Alban Bagbin is likely or will become,
and he will set record. In fact, he becomes the speaker who was actually sworn in by a male chief justice. He will be sworn in again by a female chief justice.
Well,
I mean, so interesting. That's nice. of history and a lot of record. So it will be interesting to see how that pans out at midnight. I mean,
we'll see how this goes. But look, bet on Joy News. We will be at the house all throughout to bring you how the elections will go, how the 8th Parliament will be dissolved, how the 9th will be inaugurated, leading to